Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with all of you. Starting with a question that we didn't get to start with last night. We'll start with a question from our global audience joining us online via the internet. And then we'll open it up to any questions that any of you have. So, how do we get over the sadness that we feel when we work so hard to achieve something and we don't get it? And how do we muster up the enthusiasm to live our remaining life when we lose all hope and when there is no ray of anything good to happen? So the dilemma with this is really the very premise. The very premise that somehow, because we are good people, nice people, honest people, maybe spiritual people, maybe even religious people, pious people, that because we are those things, we should get what we want. And when we don't get what we want, it means either I am worthless, I'm horrible, God hates me, or it means there is no God, nothing happens, there's no point. We never actually question the very premise. And it's so interesting because there's no scripture I know of, no religious teaching I know of that says, be a good person and you'll get everything you want. Be a good person and everything you want is going to happen. Say your prayers, do your puja, meditate, whatever your tradition may encourage. And everything you ever work for, you'll achieve. We're not told that. No one says that. Our goodness, our integrity, our righteousness, our prayers, our compassion, our spirituality, all of these things are things we do. Virtues and values we work to have. Not because they're going to get us something, but because in and of themselves, they actually bring us closer and closer to that full and deep experience of oneness with the divine, of truth, which actually brings us happiness. So the dilemma with this, and as our brother Bartendu Srimali has asked, we lose faith. So he says, how to muster this faith back up again? Well, if your faith is rooted only in God being a vending machine, you're probably not going to be able to have faith again. Because God's not a vending machine. The whole premise is wrong. With a vending machine, we put in our money, we push the button, we get out what we want. And if we don't, then we know the vending machine is broken. Maybe we kick it, maybe we shake it, maybe we, hit it a whole bunch of times. Because we know something's not right, it's broken. I did my money, I pushed the button, I should get what I want. But life isn't like that. God's not like that. You put in your money, meaning you do your puja, or you do your prayers, or you do your seva, or you are a good person. And then you push your button, A on the exam, or this university, or that job, or this lottery, or whatever it may be. And we expect that we're going to get it, and when we don't get it, we think the machine is broken. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say things like, I think I need to change my religion, or I think I need to change my guru, or I think I need a different mantra. And whenever I ask why, the reason is always something like this. Well, my current one isn't working. Like the machine is broken. But our spiritual practice is not meant to be a vending machine. And so if you've worked for something and it didn't end up happening, consider yourself prime material for the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, which is all about that. I mean, the core of the Bhagavad Gita is how to do your duty and not be attached to the fruits of your labor. Like if you had to sum up 700 verses in one core teaching, a very good one to choose would be do your duty, do your dharma, do not be attached to the fruits of your labor. It's Bhagavad Gita 101. Because when we are attached, then exactly what has happened to our brother Bhartendu is what happens to us. We get dejected, we're miserable, we're depressed, we lose hope, we lose faith, we lose enthusiasm. And that's why it's really important that whatever we do, it should be done with the awareness that the doing of it is not the means to an end, but the end in and of itself. Yeah, something good may come. But the question is not what's going to come from it, but what am I learning in the doing of it? What experience am I having in the doing of it? Such that you're planting a garden. You've got the beautiful joy of hands in the dirt, working with the seeds, having that beautiful experience. Some things sprout, they flower, other things don't. But the goal is never to get wrapped up in what sprouts, what works, what doesn't. Because it's not up to us. So don't lose faith, but just change the premise upon which your faith is based. Stop thinking that your faith is to get what you want. One of the teachings that I always emphasize, when you look at our scriptures, and this isn't true, by the way, only of Hindu scriptures. This is true of scriptures of so many religions. When we have the divine on earth, what does the story look like? Suffering. Whether it's Krishna, whether it's Ram, whether it's Jesus, whoever it is, they're suffering. Now you think, okay, at least for Bhagwan Krishna and Bhagwan Ram, I know we consider them divine manifestations, meaning they're God on earth. They have the ability to create any life story they want. Why would they create stories of such suffering? You look at the Ramayana, you look at the Mahabharata, you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, like all of these stories are stories of struggle. Bhagwan Krishna, his own uncle, mother's brother, tried to kill him God knows how many times before he was even 5 or 6 years old. Most of us have struggles that are somewhat less. Bhagwan Ram has to leave the kingdom Not only isn't he coronated, he has to leave the kingdom and be in the jungle for 14 years. And then he comes back and he can't even have his wife and children with him. Why would they choose that? If it's not to teach us through them. Do not think that your spirituality is some kind of an inoculation against life happening. Life is going to happen. Whether you are literally God on earth as a manifest form of Vishnu, of Ram. And again, you look at the stories in other religions. You look at the story of Jesus Christ. You look at so many teachers, leaders, embodiments of the divine, and their lives are struggle. Now again, if they are these beings who are choosing their incarnations, they're not stuck like we're stuck. Why choose these incarnations? Why choose these stories? To teach us. Life happens. It's the nature of the cosmic drama. In any drama, there's always good guys and bad guys, right? Otherwise, it's a flop. There's always action. Otherwise, nobody pays any attention. A good story, a good drama, always has some kind of ups and downs, keeps you on the edge of your seat. Well, why would the cosmic drama, God's Leela, be anything different? But the teaching is, you are not the role, you're the actor. The suffering comes when we identify as the role. Oh no, I have to play the role of the poor person, of the injured one, of the person who this happens to. It may be a leading role in the drama, but no, I don't want it because, oh my God. Actors and actresses are always very happy to get leading roles, regardless of whether they're the hero or the villain, the one who loses, the one who wins. It's a starring role either way. And they play it with love and sincerity and greatness. But they remember they're the actor, not the role. I always say, I've never heard of an actor playing a villain who gets off the stage and goes home and kills his family because he forgot that it was just a role. You never hear of actors or actresses who are playing an alcoholic who actually become alcoholics, or who are playing someone who's depressed who actually find themselves suffering with depression. No matter what a great actor they are, they could win awards for the portrayal of someone who is depressed, who is an alcoholic, who is a serial murderer. But they still don't go out and become serial murderers or suffer from depression or go out and become alcoholics. Because they're aware, even in the midst of their award-giving performance, they are aware, I'm the actor, not the role. And so the only way out of this struggle that he asked about is to stop expecting that, the stage director or the screenwriter is somehow going to just keep writing you a different script based on what you want in every moment. Oh, you want that? All right, no problem. I'll just write it into the script. Oh, you want that? No problem. Sure. We'll just delete hardship and we'll just give you nothing but happiness. There's no screenwriter doing that. You are the screenwriter. You are the screenwriter writing the script of your own life. You want to be happy? Write it in. Become happy. You want to live in peace? Write it in. Live in peace. You can't write other people's scripts, though, so you can't change what they do. You can't change anything on the outside. But you want to change what your lines are, change your lines. Instead of yelling and screaming, you want to say nice things and be happy? Wonderful. Write yourself a new script. That's in your hands. But other people's scripts are not. And as long as we feel like we are puppets or victims of that which is happening to us, we suffer. And when what we wanted to happen doesn't happen as happened to him, we lose faith. But we go back to where I began, which is the very premise. God is not a vending machine. Not here to just give you what you want. But we're here to actually get closer to the truth of who we are. And what you're getting, the experiences you're having, the struggles you're having, the challenges you're having, are actually those meant to help you walk farther and farther and farther along your path and get closer and closer to your truth. Great. Other questions? Yes.
These days, a lot of books are there which talks about the power of your subconscious mind. It says that whatever you affirm may not be in meditation, it could be in your thoughts. It gets realized, it gets manifested. So, your thoughts on that?
So, yes and no. Yes and no. As you mentioned, there's a lot of books these days on the power of manifestation. And that's wonderful. And yes, absolutely, our thoughts create our reality. But they create our reality in a couple of very specific ways. So one way they create our reality is because we literally see the world that first takes place in our minds and then project it out. If I believe that the world is unsafe and cannot be trusted, and that people are out to harm you and steal from you and cheat you, you can be sure that that's exactly what I'm going to get in my life. Because I have subconsciously, unconsciously, actually made that happen. It's what I'm expecting to happen. And I end up actually living in such a way, thinking in such a way, sending out thought energy in such a way, that this is actually what I end up getting. And it goes the other way. If what I believe is that the world absolutely can be trusted and that people are going to love me and be nice to me and take care of me, that's actually what I bring forth in the world. It's how I move through the world. And unconsciously, subconsciously, it's what I draw out of other people. It's why, haven't you ever noticed that when you're around some people, you feel like, I don't really like myself around that person. Somehow, for some reason, around that person, I act in ways, I speak in ways that are just not in my highest truth, in my highest love, my highest peace. And God, being around those people, I really feel like I am my best self around that person. Right? We've had these experiences. Now, you're the same. But interestingly, different people draw different things out of you. based on what they are projecting, expecting the world to be. So that's one way, and that's only one little example of how that aspect works. But that whole piece is literally, I take my inner world, I project it into the outer world. That becomes the world that I live in. Whether it's because I've actually impacted people around me to behave the way that I think they will, or whether it's just that I continue to interpret people's actions and words in exactly the way that I believe they will be. This is why we say, Jaise drishti vaise shrishti. As is my vision, so is the world. As I expect the world to be, so it is. That's one way that we project onto and create our world. I'm a failure, I'm irresponsible, I'm lazy, I'm never going to be able to accomplish anything. Well, you can be pretty sure that's exactly the world you're going to create. You're going to create a world of people who don't support your visions, who don't support your goals, who don't give you the opportunity or the raises or the promotion or the investment that you want. You've created that. You've projected that into the world. It works energetically, it works unconsciously, it works in all kinds of ways, depending on from the most literal physical energy down to or up to this cosmic level of our creation of our life and experience. But another way that it works is that which I think about all the time tends to be that which I do, and therefore that which bears fruit in my life. So for example, if God, I just want to be rich. All I want is to be rich. Like since I was young, I just want to be rich. Well, chances are I'm going to choose a profession that's got a really good chance of making me rich. Chances are I'm going to not spend so much time with my friends, with my loved ones, meditating in spiritual practices because I've got to get rich. I'm going to be the 100-hour work week person because I'm going to get that first promotion. I'm going to be the youngest vice president. I'm going to be this. I'm going to do that. Because I've got to get rich. So it's not that simply thinking about money has somehow made money manifest. It's that thinking about money has led to a series of choices and decisions and behaviors that has brought money into my life. Most things in the world, not everything, but most things in the world, if you really want to achieve them and you're really prepared to work hard for them, to give your time and your energy for them, most things are achievable. But not simply because I thought about it and then it happened, but because my thoughts led to actions. And those actions have karmic fruits, karmic repercussions. So that's the yes of manifestation. Absolutely. If you see it, if you picture it, there's a very good chance it's going to come in your life, whether because you're projecting that out and literally energetically creating that world, or because it occupies your mind so much that this is how you live, and so it happens. What doesn't happen, or certainly doesn't happen with the level of frequency that a lot of these books would like you to think, is that I sit here and I meditate on money, and I chant a money mantra, money, 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 om, money, and I open my eyes, and there is a mound of money in front of me. That doesn't happen. Now, something deeper does happen, though. If if my prayer instead of money, money, money is abundance, 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 and if I'm open as I meditate to the fact that abundance may not come in the form of money, something very beautiful happens, which is I may have begun thinking I'm going to meditate in order to have more so that I feel abundant. But through my meditation, I realize how full I already am because I let go of this identification with just the physical body. And so suddenly I'm sitting here in meditation, nothing in my bank account has changed. But suddenly I've gone from being poor to being rich. Because how I feel about my bank account has changed. When I started my meditative practice, I felt like I have nothing, not enough, need more. I feel impoverished. But through my meditative practice, I touch an abundance that is so much that I realize I am so full. So that does happen. But the mound of money in front of me doesn't. And the dilemma, of course, becomes then people just feel like, oh, I'm not a good manifester. Right? Or I've got the wrong CD. I've got the wrong book. I've got the wrong mantra. I've got the wrong teacher. These spiritual powers, teachings, awarenesses, are not about getting more. You know, we were speaking last week, or just a little bit ago, during the days of Navaratri. Each day we were worshiping a different element of the Mother Goddess. And in those we were speaking about the siddhis, the 8 siddhis that the Mother Goddess bestows. And of course these siddhis are powers. Make yourself very big, make yourself very small, make yourself heavy, make yourself light. One of the siddhis is something called prapti, which is the ability to have whatever you want. But here's what's interesting about the siddhis. They're seen as distractions on the path. They're not the path. All of the enlightened masters, the deep teachings, they're not about how to do magic. What they all say is, when you do enough sadhana, enough meditation, enough prayers, certain mantras, you will get these powers. They come. After all, everything is just matter and energy and space. And the fact that you can rearrange matter and molecules and space is not actually that impressive. I mean, I can move my arm from here to here. You don't call it a siddhi or a miracle. But if somehow I can, move something toward me, or the flower toward me, or some money toward me, we consider it a miracle. It's just another movement of matter and energy and space around. But what we are told very clearly is these are distractions. Do not go with them. Yes, there are books. Yes, there are mantras. Yes, there are teachings of you can do this, do that. But that's not the point. The point is not to become a magician stuck with powers over the material world. The point is to recognize that you are spirit and soul and connect with that. One of my favorite stories about this is when Pujya Swamiji was young and had first come here, so, going back 50 plus years, a Swamiji came who could walk on water, walk on the Ganga. And everybody was, wow, 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 amazing, this. And he took Pujya Swamiji aside, and he was very young at the time. He was a late teenager in his early 20s, but this saint and many others who had come through could see that there was something very unique and very special and very different about Swamiji, and took him aside and said, I want to teach you this mantra. I want to give you this power, this siddhi, so that you also can walk on water. And Swamiji asked him, he said, how long did that take you to do? Like doing this mantra, how long does that take? And the saint says, I've spent 40 years working on this sadhana. And Swamiji said, you see that boatman? He said, for 5 rupees, he'll take me across the Ganga. He said, I'd rather spend my 40 years serving the world than learning to cross the water without paying the boatman for it. And so what I would say is, yes, recognize the beautiful power within yourself to manifest. That blessing of the mother goddess of prapti, that siddhi. But also recognize that that's not actually the goal. The goal isn't to be a magnet and pull things toward you. The goal is to have spiritual experiences that make you realize, I am already full. My cup runneth over. That's the goal. That's the highest power. As I was saying during Navaratri, the idea of praying to the goddess, give me this ability. Oh, I want to be able to be really big. I want to be able to be really small. Like, how about remove my anger? How about remove my grudges? Free me from my grudges. Free me from jealousy. Free me from competition. Free me from thinking that I am this body, and so I get all worked up over every wrinkle or pimple or gray hair or extra pound or whatever it may be. Like, that's what we should pray for. That's really what the grace of the divine gives us. If you've got that many hours to spend in meditation, getting your manifesting power down, spend that time figuring out who you are. It's going to serve you much better. Because one of the things that the power of prapti, or a manifestation, cannot give you is awakening or enlightenment or liberation. You can manifest lots of things. You can attract lots of things. Not happiness, not peace, not love, not awakening. So I'd say don't worry about it. You have what you're supposed to have. Work hard for that which you want. But ultimately recognize that who you are is full and powerful. Beautiful. Yes. Hari Om.
Mataji, I wanted to ask, so we're all born with intuitions, and as and when we age, based on the experiences, our intuitions also grow, and also I guess through meditation we can grow. But as a very normal person, so I'll give an example, and I want to ask, my question is, how trustworthy are the intuitions?
Intuitions.
Yes. So I want to mention that one of my friends, so she got married, and after she got married, she was not very happy, and she told me after a month that the very day of her marriage, she had this intuition that she should not do it.
That she should not get married?
Yes.
Okay. After the marriage?
Yeah. No. Before.
Day before the marriage. Okay.
Before the marriage. So now I think she's manifesting that okay, what if I would have listened to my intuitions?
Got it.
Things would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a karma as well, but I think that's another bigger science. But how much trustworthy that is?
Sure. So in general, intuition is something really to listen to. It's very trustworthy. It comes from our own inner knowing. It's absolutely a voice, a power, a knowing that you want to cultivate. The dilemma comes in that a lot of times we think something is actually intuition, and really it's just fear or desire. So someone may say, oh, I have an intuition that I'm supposed to be really rich. Can you help me get there? I have an intuition I'm supposed to be president of the country. Maybe. I'm not the intuition police. I can't tell you exactly whether that's true or not, but I would say probably it's more likely that that's a desire than an intuition. In the case of your friend who had this intuition the day before her marriage that she shouldn't get married, maybe it was an intuition. Maybe it was just premarital jitters. Maybe it was just the, oh my God, am I making the worst mistake of my life? Jitters. Most people, unless they are significantly older, have been dating or even living together for years and years and years and years and years, and the marriage is just a formality, most other people have some aspect prior to a marriage of, oh my God, is this the right decision? Oh my God, what if I make a horrible mistake? Now, in the West, where there's much more of a tradition of divorce, people may think, well, all right, anyway, it's a wrong decision, I'll get divorced. In Indian tradition, it's much more difficult because there's such a stigma about it. There's such a taboo about it, and you're sort of expected to live in any circumstance, regardless of how awful it may be. And so, for an Indian woman to have pre-wedding jitters or pre-wedding terrors or a sense of, I'm not supposed to do this, doesn't surprise me at all. I would imagine that almost all of them have it. Again, though I can't get in your friend's mind, I can't tell you whether it was just the fear that probably they all have, and certainly should have, because you don't know, or whether it really was intuition. The dilemma is, at this point, it doesn't actually matter, because she married him. And so now the question becomes whether it was simply fear or actually intuition. She's now married. And now she needs to decide what to do. Assuming that the relationship is not harmful for her, meaning that she's not being abused in any way, not sexually, not physically, not emotionally, not psychologically, not spiritually. And it's just a matter of maybe an annoying mother-in-law, or a matter of some different views on, day-to-day living things, and you get general conflict, and, in that case, I would try to advise her to figure out how to make it work, because she's in it. And she will learn a lot of valuable lessons in learning how to make something that doesn't feel 100% perfect, how to make it work. No relationship is perfect. We've always got to work on it. There's always compromise. There's always things about the other person that you wish were different. But if the relationship is actually one in which she's being harmed on any level, thwarted on any level, repressed on any level, suppressed on any level, she may seriously want to think about getting out. And I know that's not a really popular view in India, and yet I think it's important. I think as cultures shift and society shifts and values shift, that the emphasis on staying together, which is beautiful and wonderful and amazing, and I am in awe of the resilience of so many Indian relationships. I think that the space for women or men to leave relationships that are not just difficult and annoying, but actually harmful to them in some way, in which they are actually being repressed, oppressed, suppressed, harmed. There needs to be space for every person to be able to live in an environment that enables them to blossom. And again, that doesn't mean that everybody's in-laws are going to support everything you do. But it means that there is the spaciousness and the freedom to do that without being pushed down on any level or belittled on any level. And so your friend may want to really think about that. I don't know how new the marriage is. She may want to give it some time, especially if she's not actually being harmed in it. You know, give it some time. It takes a while to work out the kinks, especially in a situation if you don't know each other in advance, especially in the situation when you're marrying families and not just people. You know, give it a little bit of time. But if after some time you realize, oh my God, this is a harmful situation for my body, for my mind, for my spirit, for my heart, she may want to consider getting out. And I would hope that she would be supported in doing that. Yeah. Beautiful. So before we... Are you here tomorrow? Aap kal bhi hai? Okay, tell me, what is your question? We'll take it quickly. Yes?
Namaste, Sadhviji.
Namaste.
Ma'am, like I have only two rules. I have a family and I am a working professional. So ma'am, as you have said that like we have to play, whenever we are doing any role, we have to play just like an actor. So ma'am, my philosophy for life is, ma'am, like when I am doing anything, my feelings got included in it, ma'am.
My feelings?
Got included in that.
Of course.
In that particular work. So ma'am, in a company, in a firm where I'm working, ma'am, there are a lot of things which are not good, as if we're talking in context of dharma. So ma'am, I'm doing really great. So ma'am, but sometimes it happens that things doesn't go like as
you want them to go.
Right.
Yes.
So ma'am, it disturbs me sometimes. So ma'am, my question is like, how to bring a change in a society or in a company where we are working now?
Great. So when I say identify as the actor, not the role, it doesn't mean don't care. It means don't allow your own inner anchoring, your inner grounding, to be determined by the external set of circumstances. That was given in response to a question by someone who had lost faith, lost hope, when what he wanted to happen and had worked for very hard did not happen. What you're speaking about is bringing change in society, change where we work. If there's injustice happening, if there's harm happening, adharma, the lack of dharma happening, we absolutely need to work to change it. But in order to be able to work to change it, we need to not be so emotionally involved, because when I'm emotionally involved, I can't think very well. And so then I end up acting out of my emotions rather than being an effective instrument of change. So regardless of what is happening, you should be able to be anchored and grounded in yourself, in truth, in peace, not wrapped up in the situation. But you should work for it. Because if you're wrapped up in it, you're not going to be able to work well. Then it's going to be, you'll be stuck. It's got to be my way. You're all angry and fighting and competitive and judgmental and wrapped up in it. Instead of that, calmly figure out, how can you bring change? That's what we're all here in many ways in this human experience to do, to bring love, to bring light, to bring joy, to bring peace. So if there's something that is going on that you know isn't right, work to change it in whatever way you can. Just don't work in such a way that you're so emotionally involved that you can't sleep at night and you can't eat properly and you end up getting ulcers. In order to actually bring change in the world, we have to be in peace. So that's the teaching. Okay? Beautiful. So before we end satsang tonight, we have a very beautiful birthday to celebrate. Our beloved Tiffany's birthday. Tiffany has been with us here at Parmarth for the last month so far, doing beautiful, beautiful, beautiful seva, and today is her birthday. And we have a very special satsang tradition when we celebrate special birthdays, is that we sing happy birthday in as many different languages as we have sitting in the audience on that day. So should you speak a language other than English, we're going to have the opportunity to listen to you sing happy birthday in whatever language you can speak in. So we'll begin with the English, because we can all do that together. Then we'll have Sanskrit from our beautiful Rishi Kumars, and then any other languages that you can sing happy birthday in, just raise your hand and we will sing happy birthday in all of our languages. But let's start with English together. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tiffany. Happy birthday to you.
Sudinam, Sudinam, Janmadinam, Tava Bhavatu Mangalam, Janmadinam, Tava Sudinam, Sudinam, Janmadinam, Tava Bhavatu Mangalam.